Somewhere in Pennsylvania, a machine the size of a city block is splitting atoms. Not to power homes, not to light up a skyline. It is doing math. Quiet, relentless, world-eating math. And the prize at the end of that math is a single invisible coin. Welcome to the strangest power plant on Earth. To understand why a nuclear reactor would moonlight as a Bitcoin miner, we have to understand a problem that almost no one talks about. Bitcoin is hungry, not metaphorically. Physically, electrically hungry. The entire network eats roughly as much electricity as a mid-sized country, every single day, forever. And that hunger has to be fed by something. The question is just, by what? For years, the answer was often the dirtiest thing nearby. But lately, miners have started making a very different bet. And it leads them somewhere genuinely surprising. First, let's kill a myth. Bitcoin mining is not digging. There is no pickaxe, no cave, no gold. Mining is a guessing game, played by computers at incomprehensible speed. Every 10 minutes or so, the entire network races to solve one essentially pointless puzzle. The catch is that the only way to solve it is to guess, trillions upon trillions of times per second, until someone gets lucky. The winner gets to add the next page to Bitcoin's ledger and is paid in fresh Bitcoin for the trouble. That is it. That is the whole machine. A planet-spanning lottery where the tickets are made of electricity. The more electricity you burn, the more tickets you hold, the more likely you win. Which means a miner's single biggest enemy is not a competitor, it's their power bill. Here's the brutal logic. If electricity is your main cost, then whoever finds the cheapest power wins, and everyone else slowly goes bankrupt. Miners are not searching for the best location, or the best weather, or the best city. They are searching for the cheapest electron on the planet. That search has dragged them to some strange places, to dams in the mountains, to gas fields flaring waste methane into the sky, to volcanoes, to anywhere energy is being produced and, for some reason, wasted. And once you start thinking like that, like a hunter of wasted energy, one source starts to look almost too perfect, something that runs day and night, rain or shine, that never sleeps, and that often produces more power than the grid around it can even use: a nuclear reactor. Nuclear plants have a peculiar problem. They are happiest running flat out, at a constant level, all day, all night. But human demand for electricity is bumpy. We use a lot at dinner time and almost nothing at 3 in the morning. So at 3 in the morning, a reactor is often producing power that nobody wants. In many places, that surplus is sold for almost nothing, or in extreme cases, the plant is paid to throw it away. Energy, quite literally, going into the void. Now imagine a buyer who never sleeps, a buyer who will gladly take every spare watt at 3 in the morning, no questions asked, and turn it into money. A Bitcoin miner is the perfect partner for a machine that hates to slow down. It gets stranger. Some reactors have struck deals to sell that power for around 2 cents a kilowatt hour, a price most households can only dream of. At that price, the math stops being weird and starts being obvious. So if it's this perfect, this cheap, this clean, then surely every miner on Earth is already plugged into a reactor, right? Right? Not even close. In fact, almost none of them are. And the reason why is going to flip this entire story on its head. Before the twist, the bot has a job to do. If your brain is currently doing the, that's interesting thing right now, that little tingle, that's the subscribe button warming up. Hit it. It's free. We do this every couple of weeks, and it makes the bot stop pacing. He says he doesn't pace. He's pacing. Here's the twist. The problem was never whether it works. It works beautifully. The problem is that almost nobody is allowed in the door. You cannot just drive a truck of mining rigs up to a nuclear plant and ask to plug in. These deals are enormous, slow, and tangled in regulation. They take years of lawyers, contracts, and permits. The few miners who pulled it off are giant, well-funded companies. Everyone else is locked out, paying ordinary prices, while a tiny handful sits on the cheapest power on the planet. And that creates something quietly profound. The miners with reactor access set a price floor for the entire network. They can stay profitable at prices that would bankrupt everyone else. They are not just mining Bitcoin. They are quietly setting the rules of the game for everybody. So when you picture nuclear Bitcoin mining, don't picture a clean future spreading everywhere. Picture a velvet rope and a very short list of names on it. But the velvet rope might not last forever, because a new kind of reactor is being built. Small ones. Reactors that could, in theory, be made in a factory and shipped on the back of a truck. They're called small modular reactors, and the dream is seductive. Instead of one colossal plant guarded by a velvet rope, imagine dozens of compact reactors, each humming away next to a data center, a remote town, or, yes, a mining farm. Some designs are meant to run for a decade without refueling. If that dream comes true, cheap nuclear power stops being a velvet rope privilege and starts becoming a product you can order. And the strange marriage of atoms and Bitcoin could spread far beyond a handful of giants. If. That word is doing an enormous amount of work, and it's exactly where we need to be honest with you. So, let's be skeptical for a minute, because there are real reasons to doubt this story. First, those small reactors barely exist yet. Almost none are running commercially. They're expensive to build, and the cheap electricity they promise depends on making thousands of them, which nobody has done. Right now, that power can cost far more than gas or solar, not less. Second, even when nuclear works perfectly, it's a tiny slice of the picture. The best estimates put nuclear at under 10% of Bitcoin mining's electricity. The clean energy story for Bitcoin is real, but it's carried mostly by hydro and wind, not by glowing reactors. And third, the uncomfortable one. A reactor doesn't care what it powers. The same plant could light up a hospital instead of guessing lottery numbers. Whether using precious clean energy to play a global lottery is wise or wasteful is a question this video cannot answer for you. It's a genuinely open debate, and anyone who tells you it's simple is selling something. And yet, step back far enough, and something quietly hopeful comes into view. Bitcoin, whatever you think of it, has become a buyer of energy that goes anywhere, pays anytime, and never sleeps. It rewards whoever finds power that would otherwise be wasted. And it turns out the cleanest, most patient, most relentless power source we've ever built, the splitting of an atom, is an almost perfect match for it. It may stay a velvet rope curiosity. It may one day ride a wave of tiny factory-built reactors into something much bigger. We genuinely don't know yet. But the next time you hear that Bitcoin is just numbers in the cloud, remember the cooling tower in Pennsylvania, glowing in the dark, splitting atoms to chase an invisible coin. The most digital thing humans ever made is now reaching, quietly, for the most physical power in the universe. Quick one for you, and it's the laziest question we've ever asked. If you suddenly owned your own tiny reactor, would you mine Bitcoin with it, or power something else? One word in the comments: mine or power. That's the whole task. We'll pin our favorite reasoning, and the best answer wins a shout-out in the next video. The duck is keeping score, allegedly. Thanks for splitting atoms with us. We'll see you in the next one.